the parts of the teachings that you find hospitable in the minds of your students, and what teachings do you find are challenging for your students?
Well, the concept of jihad, this idea that is there a justification in Islam to go out and kill people, that's a difficult concept, obviously, for people in this country to deal with. So I want to take it, straight on, and I do it by looking at how did the Prophet Muhammad actually fight. Most of the time, Muhammad was seeking alliances. He was persuading people through his moral message, and by the end of he was 8 years in exile. At the end of that time, without any military victories, any sizable military victories, he came back to Mecca with 10,000 followers, and there was not a single drop of blood shed.
Do you believe there's this conflict between Islam and modern feminist ideology?
I would say, in my view, the answer would be no, because ultimately in all of the signs and ayahs and verses of the Quran, we are taught that despite which nation and tribe God created you from, despite what gender you are, in the end, the only thing you'll be judged for is your righteousness. That is the leveling force. Your submission to God, your duty to family and community is the first criteria. I don't see any of it at variance with women's rights or with feminism.
I wanted non-Muslims to appreciate the power of this journey and the universality of the journey, because all of us really in our faith quests are looking to know God better. We're looking to know who we are and what's our purpose in being here on planet Earth, and how can we improve our circumstances. And that's part of what this quest is about, and I think people could relate to that.
And how have you been able to take that powerful, optimistic, hopeful strength into an America post 9/11, which has had so many destructive misconceptions about Islam?
Well, I knew that one thing that I can do, and I learned from the tradition of my grandparents and people in the 60s, that when you're faced with adversity, the one thing not to do was to face it again with violence, that we could just take a step back, assess what's going on, and try to work to change that, work in whatever way you can. As the American Muslims and law enforcement officers, what we do, we started Girl Scout troops, for example, in Brooklyn. We've enrolled over 120 girls in Girl Scouting. Girl Scouting is about service to God and service to country. What better way than to be involved in Girl Scouting, to show American Muslim girls that this is their country and they own it just as much as anyone else. They have a duty to report terrorism. We taught them that. We spoke out at different masjids, letting people know if they were afraid to come forward, if they knew something, they can come to us, and then we would in turn report it. We've sponsored information fairs where Muslims within the Brooklyn community were put in contact with various government agencies, local, state, and city, and the services that these agencies provided. We sponsored basketball tournaments for children. We think that just interacting among each other will help to allay a lot of fears about Muslims, just through simple interaction. You don't necessarily have to sit and preach and teach people your doctrine, but by working with them on a daily basis, by them seeing you.
Yes,
that
I completely agree. I think the example of personal courage and kindness is what it takes to overcome prejudice. It's people saying, well, how could I be prejudiced against Muslims after 9/11 when I have a friend, so-and-so,
Exactly.
who I know is a decent person, who I know is a loving person, who I know loves America? I can't make that step. It was only those people and not Islam and not Muslims.
Exactly.
That's the key.
Right.
This idea that I love about Islam, that really the animals just have animal instincts. The angels have no animal instincts. They're more like God, and we're in between. And it's really a struggle, because our animal instincts for adultery, for greed, for murder, those are the instincts that draw us away from our spiritual nature. And I think Ramadan is one of the greatest creations of all world religions, because it is an entire month of great sacrifice that brings immense spirituality, tremendous sacrifice, and charitableness from Muslims, and I think it's one of the great creations of our Muslim brothers and sisters.
Yeah, fencing's been the driving force of my life. I was able to get a scholarship to college. I went to NYU, graduated with a BA in economics, and now I'm involved with an organization I'm very proud of. I'm the co-founder. It's called the Peter Westbrook Foundation.
Tell us about it.
It's a not-for-profit organization that utilizes fencing to enhance the lives of kids both academically as well as athletically. We meet every Saturday from 9 to 12. We have kids, boys and girls, in the program from 9 to 18. We provide free tutorial help. We give them the opportunity to fence. We provide all the equipment, essentially free. We're sponsored by various organizations, and I'm really proud of that. We put 3 people on the Olympic team in 2000. We're slated to put another 4 on the 2004 Olympic team. A lot of our kids are, college bound. We have students in Columbia, University of Pennsylvania, Harvard.
When Tom and I first got together, people thought, well, it's very, very strange to have a Catholic station to have a rabbi on. And now, because of your tremendous help and because of the wonderful, wonderful people at the Islamic Center of Long Island, we now have a new direction in telecare that also expands the understanding of telecare and its service to the community, and that is the wonderful program called Our Muslim Neighbors. And let's talk about the program, and first of all, how it began and what ideas you had about helping people understand more about Islam.
Well, it was really Father Tom's initiative when he came and we had a little chat, and he said what he's watching on television isn't what he knows about the Muslims of Long Island. So let's put a real face on television. So it was really putting a face of the community on television. And during the last year or so, we've done a remarkable amount of work. We have had already 6 different segments done.
I know.
And the kids have been here, the adults have been here. We had a show on you and Father Tom came to the mosque, walked through the mosque, answered so many questions. And
yes, and we co-host every one of those sessions. And I tell you, I've studied Islam and I've learned a great deal, and it's been a wonderful experience. And first of all, I want to thank all of the people who have helped us. It's just wonderful people.
It's been a great experience for us. The staff here, Mike and Chris and everyone else, have been so supportive, so helpful. We felt at home.
That's wonderful. And, I felt the same thing when I first came here. I was a little unsure at the beginning. After all, it is a Catholic station. But because of Tom, really, and his vision, his inclusive vision, there's room here now for Jews and Muslims. And I'm just so thankful that he's been able to do this, and so thankful that I've been able to play a part, because obviously the tensions in the Middle East and the tensions in the war on terror have made it very difficult for the Muslim community. And what we really want to do is to help address the simple truth that the only way that prejudice can grow is out of the soil of ignorance.
Absolutely.
And once people know that Islam is a wonderful religion, once they know that their Muslim neighbors are their neighbors, they're boys and girls and men and women who want the very same thing that everyone wants, and who believe in a world of peace and justice, and who believe in the same God that we all believe in. And once everyone understands that, I really think that prejudice and discrimination will disappear.
Rabbi, the beauty of this United States is that you and I are sitting in a Catholic studio and talking about our commonalities. I mean, where else can this happen?
Nowhere.